Are you spending more time managing your social media than actually growing your business? What if I told you there's a way for you to boost your efficiency, free up your schedule, and still engage your audience like a pro? That time freedom that you started your business for in the beginning, it's there. It's there. You just have to reach out and grab it. And in this episode, we're uncovering the secrets to automating your social media strategy so that you can focus on the things that matter the most. If you're ready to save time and still shine online, let's dive in. Hey, Elise Smith here, and welcome to the Socially Awesome Podcast, the place where online entrepreneurs come for no-nonsense marketing strategies that actually work. Not super long ago that I started Socially Awesome online in June of 2022, and I remember I felt like I was spinning my wheels trying to grow. And this podcast is your new secret weapon. I'm going to help you ditch the fluff and focus on real, actionable steps to grow your audience, boost your engagement, and turn those followers into paying customers. But here's the thing. This isn't just another marketing podcast. I'm bringing you straight shooting advice and strategies inspired by my journey as a mom of three and the owner of Socially Awesome, a business that started as a dream to create something meaningful while raising my family. In each episode, I'm bringing you free tools, expert advice, and ways to connect with your audience to grow your business online to make it simple, social, and awesome. Let's dive in. All right, let's talk about the truth here. We're spitting truth today. We all know, but hate to admit, that social media is a powerful tool. It's draining as hell. It drains your time. It drains your energy. It can be super negative. You've got all this stuff to sift through, all these posts to create, all these comments to respond to, analytics to track. You got to follow the trends. You need better hooks. You're trying to stay up with all the algorithm changes, and Instagram moves its buttons. And before you know it, your entire day is gone. And then you get to the end of the day and you're like, what did I even do? I know you're virtually raising your hand now because this happens for everyone. And if you've ever listened to any of my podcast episodes, you've ever been in any of my trainings, you've probably heard me use DMO, Daily Method of Operations. Basically what that means, that's what you do all day. It's what you're doing all day because as an entrepreneur, you create your job description. No one's creating it for you. And it's one of those things that you have to nail down. And I have actually some free resources that will help you with this. I have a free training and a free checklist for you to really take charge of your daily method of operations because truthfully, that is what is going to bring results in your business. 80% of your results come from what you do 20% of the time. But today's episode is not about DMO. I'll make sure that information is in the show notes for you. But what today is about is automation. Because I want you to imagine, close your eyes while you're listening, and you wake up, you get your coffee or tea, no judgment, and your social media is running like clockwork, and you don't have to pick your phone up immediately. You can let it sit on the side table, you read, you do your daily motivation, you listen to that podcast episode, you take a walk, and then, I don't know, somewhere around 10 a.m., you finally plug into your business. Your posts are scheduled, your audience is engaging, and you haven't even had to open your phone yet. Sales are coming in, notifications of people wanting to work with you, DMs of saying, hey, I'm ready to pay. People putting their credit cards out in the DMs for you. That's the beauty of automation. And today I really want to show you how automation isn't just about saving time. It's about working smarter. It's about creating consistency. It's about building a strategy that works for you even while you sleep. And no, this is not clickbaity reels. I know you've seen those reels. We all have. Of, I made so much money in my sleep and blah, blah, blah. And yes, it's possible. That's what's crazy is that we look at these reels and we're like, yeah, or that could never be us. You're either one of the two. You're either the skeptic or you're the doubter. And you're like, that could never be me. But the truth is it can be. So I really want you to grab a notebook and download this episode. So I want you to take notes, but also download, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you come back to this because honestly, you're going to want to listen to it twice. But we're going to really talk today about how to make social media, your life in general on social media, so much easier. And it's not just about social media. If you're here listening to this podcast, you probably don't care about being an influencer. You're here to make an impact while making an income. And my goal today is to teach you how to make that easier for you so that your business fits into your life and not the other way around. Okay. So let's dive in. And I really want to start with why automation is essential, because it's non-negotiable, honestly, at some point in your business. If you're just getting started, and I think a lot of us have this fear when we just get started about using too many softwares, right? We tell ourselves, even if you're a super techie person, you've probably at some point been like, I'm not techie enough for that. And you avoid doing it because you don't know how, or you're fearful of showing up. I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've screwed up in my business, honestly. And I may have had a couple comments of people being like, yo, you got a typo here. But the majority of people don't care because I'm trying, I'm showing up, and I'm providing value. And so I know when I was first getting started with automation, I was very worried about something going haywire or something screwing up. And when I finally had this moment when my audience was just kind of blowing up and I could not keep up with the comments, I could not keep up with the DMs, and I knew I was never going to make that impact and serve the people I wanted to serve if I could not respond to them. And so for me, I kind of got backed in a corner, and it was like do or die time. It was put the automation in or really lose business and lose myself and lose time with my family and all these other things. But before I had that oh shit moment, for lack of better words, I was very fearful that I was going to screw something up. I was going to sound robotic. I had all of these things in my head, all of these ideas of what would happen instead of what could happen, how much better it could get. And managing social media manually is just time consuming and it's overwhelming. And honestly, it's not the best use of your time. Even if you have the time, even if you don't have anything else to do today, it's not the best use of your time, because we know as entrepreneurs, you have to bring a lot of people into your sales funnel. And if you have to manually reply to 100 and only 10 are buying, is that the best use of your time, right? And one thing I really work with my students on in the academy is authentic automation, because yes, you can absolutely sound robotic. Yes, you can automate the wrong way and completely remove the human element out of your business. And what that will do is end up losing trust with your audience, which is exactly what we want to avoid. But when you do it authentically, you're able to, one, pre-qualify people that want to work with you so that you know if it's the best use of your time or if they're just a freebie seeker, because there's going to be a lot of those if you haven't already noticed. But two, you're able to serve them better. So like for me, I know I have students in my courses and my programs that are all over the world. And I don't live on social media. I don't. I spend probably less than an hour and a half a day. And that's on a day that I'm like, I'm doing a lot of engagement, or I had a lot of questions in my community on social media. Almost none of that's creating, because I batch create. And that's definitely something that I teach all my students to do as well. If I have someone in Australia that wants to get my lead magnet and they have to wait on me to manually send it to them, they're probably going to wait at least 24 hours. And we also know as entrepreneurs that reducing the amount of clicks is important. Reducing the amount of time from someone going from a lead to a sale is important. And so if you're stuck in this endless loop of posting and commenting and then analyzing and over, you're not serving at a high level either. And your audience can feel that. You also need to think of it like this, because I know it's happened to me a lot. There are days where you're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. We have days we wake up and it's not our best day. We're not putting our best foot forward. And those might not be the days that I want to have really in-depth sales conversations with people, or that I want to go in and talk to a lead. So allowing automation to bring those leads to a certain level, make sure I'm serving them better, I'm using my time wisely, and that they're getting a consistent message from me. It's not based on my mood or whatever that day. Automation just changes the game, and it helps you streamline these repetitive tasks so that you can focus on high impact activities like creating better content, connecting directly with your audience or people that have already worked with you. And don't worry, it doesn't mean you have to lose your personal touch. Like I said, This is really what I teach my students in the academy level, is that authentic automation. But when it's done, it can actually enhance your ability to engage in real ways. And it can bring a whole lot more money in your business. So we're really going to dive into the tools and best practices for this today. And then, of course, in the show notes, I'll have a ton of resources for you. But I want to talk about practical tools that make automation magic happen, because that's another thing. We do get in this place in our business where you have so many software, so many tools, so many apps, and you're overwhelmed by how many charges Apple is sending to your email every month. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I get an Apple receipt. I get an Apple receipt probably every day, and I'm like, what the hell is this even for? Like, I don't even, they don't tell you in the receipt. So then I got to go to my account. They know I'm too lazy to go to my account to see what it was for. So then I'm just like, whatever, Apple's charging me every day. Cool. But there's a lot of different tools you can use. And one thing that I recommend, and I want you to bookmark this for sure, is that when you're getting started with automation, focus on automating one part of your business at a time. This is a big mistake that I made. When I first jumped in, I was going to automate my emails and automate my DMs and automate my social media. I was going to automate everything at one time. It was complete overwhelm. I shut down for a couple weeks, and then I was like, I got to get back into this. So I really want to just press that forward and really nail that home, drive that home, is that focus on one area at a time. One of the best ways to decide what area to start with, what is taking the most time out of your day? Because here's another question I ask my students all the time is, where are you spending your time all day? And a lot of them can't tell me. And that's because we have 1,000 tabs open on our computer, and we're, going from the Instagram app to Googling something or asking ChatGPT a question, and then our mom calls, and then the kids are getting off the bus, and like, we're all over the place. So one of the best ways to figure out where your time is going is to do a time audit. And again, I referenced this a little bit earlier, but I'll actually have a resource for you in the show notes about nailing down your DMO. And I talk you through how to do a time audit. So once you've done a time audit, I want you to see, where is the majority of your time going? Is it creating that content? Is it getting it posted? Is it responding to DMs? Once you decide, prioritize. Because here's the thing. One, where is most of your time going? Because time is money. I don't care what anyone tells you, time is money. But then two, we also want to focus on what drives money. Those high impact activities, money making activities. So sure, you can absolutely automate your, I don't know. You could use Zapier to have all your pretty Canva graphics go to your Google Drive. But is that making you money? Probably not. So when we're looking at this, there's a lot of different areas in your business you can automate. First and foremost, scheduling your posts in advance. And I have a semi-automated process for this. And moving into 2025, I'm going to automate even more. And this doesn't mean that you have to lose the touch from your content. This doesn't mean that your content can't be authentic. But it also means that I don't need to go in and post every single day. And there's a lot of stuff, and I know you're going to have questions. There's a lot of stuff floating around on social media if it hurts your reach or hurts your algorithm. And I'll tell you this, I've tested it both ways. And honestly, it's hurting my reach or my engagement enough to make it worth me spending hours every day on social media. So really, weigh the pros and cons here. But some of my favorite automating tools for scheduling, Metrical is an amazing tool, and you can get a free account with it. And the beauty of Metrical too is, here's one of the things for me. So I actually have an all-in-one platform that I use that has my emails, my social, my funnels, everything's in there. And it'll be in my automation domination guide that you can get in the show notes too. But I also have a Metrical account that's free, because Metrical tracks analytics and competitors 10 times better than any other platform I've used. So I have a free Metrical account just to track my analytics every month. So ninja tip, you can use these in a lot of different ways, but you've heard of a lot of them. There's Later, there's Buffer and Hootsuite and all of these. You need to pick one that works best for you. And which one has the most platforms on it that you're on. So that's another thing, like Threads, for example. Threads is new to having an API. So a lot of these scheduling tools don't have the ability to schedule on Threads yet. So you don't want to have to pay for two different ones. So find one that works for you. But also, a lot of these platforms do allow you to schedule on them. Now, that takes some extra work. So you need to kind of weigh the pros and cons there too, as well, as far as time. But for example, I could plan all of my content and go in Instagram and schedule my reels through Instagram. I could schedule them all on TikTok. I could schedule them all on Facebook Reels, et cetera, et cetera. And the downside to doing that is, again, time, right? So if I have to go on Facebook and schedule and then TikTok and schedule, and then you're spending a lot more time. Whereas if you have a scheduling tool, you could post it. And if you want to schedule it 5 places at once, you only have to do it one time. But scheduling is a huge, huge piece of where your time is going. Because what happens is, and be honest with yourself here, you're not just going on and clicking post and scheduling it. You're going on, a notification pops up, you start scrolling, you start responding to a DM. Then you're like, oh man, I didn't get that reel posted and I got to go back and schedule it. And then you're not just jumping in and doing the task. So it's a time suck. Another social media automation tool that I absolutely love is ManyChat. And you've probably heard of this. A lot of people are scared to use it because I think it's going to be super techy, but I'm going to tell you, ManyChat has templates for everything. It's seriously probably the easiest tool out there. I'm not kidding. And it won't let you, yes, you can do things wrong, but it will tell you if there's an error. So ManyChat has really boosted my engagement on Instagram and my Facebook business page. People can respond to your stories with a keyword and they get the link to your freebie. You can do a quiz. Now, at the time of this recording, I'm doing a giveaway. So when this launches, it probably won't still be available. I'm sorry, but I'm doing a giveaway on ManyChat. So I went in, I set up a template. I wanted to give my social media content Google Sheet that I use to plan all of my content. I wanted to give it to 10 people to get some feedback and testimonials on it. And I set that giveaway up in ManyChat. And so ManyChat picks who wins. I don't even have to pick who wins. Isn't that insane? But it walks them through a sequence. It collects their name and email, puts that in on my email list, and then walks them through how to enter, what's the requirements, or, whatever that looks like for them. And then it tells them if they won or they lost. All I had to do is set it up and tell ManyChat, I want this many people to win. I knew I wanted to give 10 away. So ManyChat picks. It's insane. It's insane. Some other things to look at when you're looking at your DM automations are, how can you capitalize or do follow-up or upsell in the DMs? So now you're probably not doing that, because if you had to manually go in and follow up with everyone who commented or follow up with everybody who got your freebie, you'd be there forever. But you could make so much more money in your business by leading your customers through your journey. So now if they're commenting and you're sending them your lead magnet in the DMs and then never going back and saying, hey, what was your biggest takeaway? Hey, I saw you got my free guide, did you have any questions about XYZ? Starting those sales conversations, you're probably not, because it's going to take you forever. Whereas ManyChat could do that for you. You tag that person, hey, they got my free guide on this date. I want to wait 7 days and then DM them again. It's incredible. It's incredible. Another thing to consider with DM automation, and this is really high level stuff. So if you're a little overwhelmed by this episode, like I said, make sure you subscribe and you download it so you come back and listen to it again. But when it comes to DM automation, this is what I want you to think. If you send them your link to get your freebie, they have to go to a website, click again, fill out the form, click again to submit, go to their email, get it, et cetera, right? And so in marketing, we want to reduce the clicks and we want to lead people through the sales funnel faster. So what if they respond the keyword, ManyChat DMs them and says, hey, I saw you were looking to get my free guide. I'm so excited. Tell me your name. I want to get to know you. They give you their name. Awesome. What email do you want me to send that free guide to? They give you their email. Boom. Send it right to them in the DMs. You got their name and email. That's all you really need. And then you can have it automatically put them in an email sequence. But the beauty of this is you reduce the clicks, because what happens is a lot of times, and I wish I had a metric. I should have looked at metrics before this episode, but when people are going to your landing page to get your freebie, I would bet 70% of people don't ever even open the email. So they opted in, they got on your email list, you emailed them the freebie, they don't even open it. A couple reasons. It could go to their spam, especially if it's their first time, opting in from you. But two, they forget about it. I know you so well. I know you have bought a course and you've never even logged in and watched the modules. I know. I want you to shoot me a DM on IG when this episode's over and tell me you can relate to that. I've got about 5 of them that I have on a to-do list over here that I keep telling myself I need to go watch. It's kind of sad, but that's what happens. We all do it. So if you're sending it to them immediately, odds are they're going to open it. And you're using the same communication channel with them. So when you are switching communication channels too often, people don't know where to communicate with you. If they started the conversation in the DMs and you finished it with the lead magnet in the DMs, they are 10 times more likely to stay in communication with you than you saying, click my link. I literally, this is another thing. These longer episodes, I have to say this. So if you are new to the podcast, I apologize. For those of you that have been with me for a while, all of my episodes for the last year and a half, I guess, have been 10 minutes or less. I like bite-sized content. And so I really am challenging myself to give you as much value as I can in these episodes. And it is making my brain get excited because I'm like, man, I'm giving it. Like I'm in. And so it's going to take me a minute to get my ADHD under control. Think about this. Because I had someone last week that bought a one-on-one call with me. They booked a one-on-one call. They just wanted to get really clear on why their sales conversations weren't working. And she has a ton of engagement on TikTok, like hundreds of comments on her videos, but they weren't converting. And so I said, send me a couple screenshots of your conversations. Let's see what's happening. They were opting in. She's going to kill me, and that's why I'm not giving you her name. But they were literally on TikTok commenting her keyword. Now on TikTok, you can't do DM automation. All right. But she was taking it to the DMs and saying, hey, I saw your comment. I'm so excited. You want my free guide? XYZ. And she would say, let's go ahead and walk you through this. And she would tell them, go to my profile, click my link. On my link, scroll down like 3 shots, three scrolls, and you'll see this guide. Grab it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're giving them a laundry list of things to do just to get a free guide that they're probably not even going to read. Now, there's a challenge there because on TikTok, you can't do what we can do on Instagram and Facebook. So I personally was like, look, this is what I would do. And I told her, I was like, I would tell them, give me your name and email, and I will get this sent over away and try that. Now that's manual. She's going to have to manually enter their emails. And then there could be some disclaimers and things like that. So we talked a little bit about, responding to them and saying, do I have your permission to email you this? That's a manual process. But I told her, I said, try this and see if it helps for a week. If you can commit to doing it manually for a week. Because the truth is, on TikTok, it's challenging. Everyone has to go to your link in bio, and they don't. And even if you copy and pasted the link in the DM, it's not clickable. So it's a frustrating thing for those on TikTok. But that's because TikTok's a reach platform. It's not really an engagement platform. So long story short, she came back. She actually DM'd me on Sunday and said that she's closed 4 sales this week. Now, we don't want her to do this over and over and over. This is not a good use of her time, but we know if we could just get the people the information, they will convert. So that's something she and I are working through challenge-wise now, whether we're going to introduce an SMS marketing system or something of that sort. But you can't just say, it's not working. You've got to figure it out. So in order to not make this episode an hour long, a couple other things you can automate on social media, and definitely grab that automation domination guide in the show notes, is, of course, captions and things like that. So there's a lot of different AI-powered tools. Some of my favorite ones will be listed in the show notes for you as well. And then content repurposing is another thing that you can automate. So when we're looking at things like repurpose.io, it can take your TikToks and put them on Instagram without the watermark. It can put them on a Google Drive and back them up so you never lose your content, which 10 out of 10, I recommend. I lost a TikTok account, 10,000 followers, lost all of that content, almost a year's worth of content, because none of it was backed up. So if you do nothing, get repurpose.io, pay the $25 a month, cut your Starbucks out for a week, and back your content up. Back your content up. It's crucial. It's crucial. There's a lot of other things here. Like I take my TikToks and I download and I transcribe them into carousels and Reels captions. And you can do live stream automation where when you stream on one place, it goes everywhere. There's unlimited potential here. But ultimately, what you need to know is that if you're struggling with time now and you're only making, let's say, 10 sales a month, how are you ever going to get to 100 sales a month? How? You're not. You're not without automation. So it's time for you to embrace it and really dive into it. So let's talk about some best practices for this. Now, here's where the strategy comes in. Automation works best when you keep a balance between efficiency and authenticity. And I'm going to say that again. Automation works best when you have a balance between efficiency and authenticity. So I'll give you an example here. First, schedule your posts based on when your audience is most active. So my Instagram audience is most active, let's say at 8 a.m. So I schedule all my reels to go out at 8 a.m. Most platforms will tell you they have built-in, I don't know of any that don't have analytics. Even Threads now has analytics. They'll help you figure this out. 2, making sure your captions and your content still sound like you. So when you're using ChatGPT and all these other resources to help you write, because no shame in the game, but if I can tell ChatGPT wrote it, there's an issue. Now, ChatGPT is pretty good. So the more you work with it, the better the prompts are. You can get it to where people don't even know. But the point is you don't want to let automation make your brand feel robotic. Then the third thing, we want to set up your DM automation for that. So we schedule that reel based on when my audience was active. I've got a call to action. Hey, drop machine in the comments to get my free Sales Machine Masterclass. I've got a caption that AI helped me write. It's automated. I set up a DM automation for that. So then anyone that comments machine, ManyChat takes that conversation over, leads them into my sales funnel. Then once they're in my sales funnel, I've got email automation that is going to go to them and nurture them. And then repurpose.io picks up that reel and puts it on my Google Drive so that I never lose an episode. Like, it has to be streamlined. It has to be streamlined. Because when you're only automating one piece of this or one piece of that or one piece of that, there's still a disconnect. And don't forget to hop in daily and have those personal interactions, answer DMs, respond to comments, keep the connection alive with your audience. But strategy is crucial when it comes to automation because when done wrong, it can overwhelm your audience. It can come across as robotic and it can ultimately lose trust. And that leads me into common mistakes to avoid. So let's take a second just to talk about what not to do. First and foremost, over automating is a big one. So if your content starts to feel cookie cutter or generic because you're using AI to write your captions and your scripts, your audience is going to notice, and not in a good way, especially if you're using some of ChatGPT's and words like delve. And I have a whole list of really bad ChatGPT words. And ninja tip here, you can actually tell ChatGPT in your settings, like, never use these words. 10 out of 10 recommend that you do that. But your content, if you start over automating and using AI too much and you lose that human connection, you're going to lose trust. Okay. People are going to start unfollowing you. They're going to start unsubscribing from your emails because ultimately they feel somewhat cheated. They feel cheated. They followed you for you and then you changed because you started over automating. Another mistake, ignoring your analytics. So a big thing that I see a lot, especially on Instagram, is people talking about how automation can ruin your reach and ruin your engagement. And it's not proven. Honestly, it's not proven. Instagram's CEO even talks about how you can use their scheduling and things like that and it won't hurt. Now, he's going to tell you whatever he's going to tell you to keep you on the platform, but automation isn't a set it and forget it thing. Okay. You need to check your metrics regularly so you can tweak your strategy for what's not working. Even more than like reach or engagement, if I set up a DM automation for a keyword and 50 people have gone through it, but no one has clicked the link on the message, there's probably a disconnect there. Either the trigger's not working, the message sounds too robotic. They're like, nope, this is spam, I'm out. So really understanding that. And the third, and if you don't get anything else out of this episode, I really hope you're paying attention to this. The third mistake is not segmenting your audience. And I've done this. I've made this mistake. I lost a lot of email subscribers because I really didn't know any better. And so when I would go in and send emails every week, I would just send a list. I'm emailing people. And your customers that have already bought your course do not want to get emails about a promo where your course is now $100 cheaper. They don't want to get that. So you have to learn how to segment your list into people tagging properly so that, you're not emailing someone over and over and over about something they already bought. That's going to lead to an unsubscribe. You need to learn how to break it into time. So if automating your email marketing sequences, making sure that you have a wait period in between, making sure that maybe after the third or fourth email, you're only sending it to people that opened it or clicked it. And that's going to save you a lot of money too. Because ultimately, if you're continuing to send to people who haven't opened an email from you in the last 90 days, you're wasting a ton of money. And I tell you, as someone who has a very large list at this point, it gets expensive. I really want to share a story with you before we close this, because last year I worked with a client and she was so burnt out. She was spending 6 hours a week on social media tasks. That's it's almost a whole work day back in corporate. But ultimately it was a whole hour a day just on tasks. And she could barely keep up with her engagement. So not only was she spending so much time on this, but she was burning out and she was going to end up giving up on her business. She was ready to quit. And we really looked at introducing a few simple automation tools. We looked at planning her content ahead of time, a month in advance, so she could schedule her post. Another, to flag important DMs that she needed to answer personally, because that was one of the things, is that she was already using ManyChat, but she was having to scroll through her DMs to find DMs that she needed to personally respond to. And it was leading her with overwhelm and doubt that she was providing the service she needed to, because she felt like, I'm missing people. People are falling through the cracks, and they weren't. And we also looked at her email sequences, because when it comes to email, and this is gold, you guys, email, it said that you can earn $1 per person on your email list. And I know creators that earn way more than that. But your email list you own. You don't own Instagram. You don't own Facebook. So your only goal with Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, whatever, is to get people on your email list. That's your only goal. And then your funnels and your emails and your sales pages and all of that should be where people buy from you. But if your only connection to your customers and your audience is in the DMs, your business is at risk. And once we introduced these automation tools, within a month, she had cut her social media time in half. And the best part is her engagement actually went up because she was able to use that extra time to respond to comments in a meaningful way and connect deeper with her audience, rather than just saying, I got to do my 15 minutes of engagement. Let me hurry up and do this. And she was basically just doing tasks just to do them, not to run her business. So when we gave her the power of automation, it didn't replace her. It gave her the freedom to show up where it mattered most. And if we think in terms of money, it saved her a shit ton of money, because time is money. So when we cut the amount of time she's doing on social media in half, it paid for itself to buy the automation tool. Not to mention, because her engagement went up, she made more sales. It's not always about sales, but she made more sales. So automation really isn't about replacing the human touch. It's about creating more space for you to do what you love. And again, think about this. If you are struggling now with time for 5 customers, how are you going to make it to 50? So here's your challenge for this week. I want you to pick one task and automate it. Maybe it's scheduling your post or setting up reminders to check your analytics. Start small and build from there. But you've got this. You've got this. And if you're fearful to spend money on these tools, a lot of them have free trials. Try it. I want to hear how it's going for you. I want you to DM me or tag me on IG at socially.awesome. Share your biggest takeaway from today's episode. And if you found this helpful, Share it with a friend. Leave us a review. It's the absolute best compliment you can give. We want to know what you like. We want to know what you don't like. We want to know what you want to hear more of on the podcast. We want your feedback. So leaving us a review, it's my absolute love language. And the last thing, make sure that you check out the show notes below because, drum roll please, we are having an Automation Advantage Challenge in January. And in this 5-day challenge, I am going to walk you through step by step how to get that time back in your life, how to put these tools in place authentically, and how to increase your sales and engagement with automation. Now the challenge, we have a wait list to register for it. So in the show notes, I will have a little form for you to fill out saying, hey, I'm interested in the challenge, and you'll be on the wait list. So you'll be first to know when it launches. It's going to be 5 days with me, very tactical. I don't like conceptual stuff. I like tactics. I want to tell you exactly what to do step by step. And any of my students that have worked with me know that that is how we roll. So also make sure you check out the show notes to get into our Socially Awesome Entrepreneurs community. This is my free Facebook community where we do weekly tips, tricks, and trainings to help you with your business online. But until next time, make it simple, make it social, and make it awesome. I'll see you next week. All right, there you have it. I hope you're walking away with some actionable tips and fresh inspiration to go out and grow your business. If you love this episode, it would mean the world to me if you hit the subscribe button and left a quick review. Your feedback helps more entrepreneurs just like you find the podcast, and it keeps me fired up to keep bringing you even more value-packed episodes. Don't forget to check out the show notes for all the links, tools, and resources we talked about today. And hey, let's keep the conversation going. Connect with me on IG at socially.awesome for even more strategies to crush your goal. Until next time, make it simple, make it social, and make it awesome.